In this video I'll show you how to make this lift box part, and we're going to use the sheet metal tool because we want to create a flat pattern. So let's start a new part and make sure sheet metal is active. You just have to bring your cursor up here along this row here, right click and put a check mark next to sheet metal, and that'll be available. So we're not going to start out with a sketch. We're going to start out, if you click the sheet metal tab, click base flange tab and click on one of your planes, and then we'll use our regular sketch tool just like we always have. I'll use the center rectangle tool in this case, and I need an 8 by 6 rectangle. That's going to be the base of my part. I'll finish the sketch, and this menu is going to pop up here. I just need to put in the thickness of my metal. In this case it's 0.095. Oops, 0.95. K factor has to do with how you bend the metal, or how the metal can be bent. We can leave that alone. The rest of these we can just stay the same. And there's our base for the part. And we're going to add some sides to this, which are going to end up being the legs. And the way you do that is still under the sheet metal tab, use the edge flange. What you want to do is click on the edge where you want to add a part. And you can see if you move your cursor, it's going to show you what's going to happen here. I'm going to click that, and then I can come over and put a dimension on that. In this case, we need a 2.5 dimension for that leg. Now this is going to describe the way that that dimension is interpreted. Do you want it to go from the outer edge, so that would be from the very bottom up to here, which is what I want, because that you have really good control over the outside dimensions of the part. If you work it that way, you can do just the length of the flange itself, or you can do this one with the tangent, which is kind of difficult to interpret for me. And then there's also the flange position. So if you look here, you'll see the way that corner looks. There we go. So if I'm on this position here where the material's on the inside, you see it puts the bend on the inside. So this part is, this is 8 inches wide. The 8-inch dimension is going to be to the outside. If you click on there, see how it moves the bend on the outside of the material, and this one goes even farther out. So if you're trying to make space for something to fit inside there, you might use that, but typically you just leave it on that default right there. This is going to be your bend radius, and in this case what we're going to use is, that's a really tight radius. We are going to use a 0.25 bend radius here. And then we'll say OK, and let's see what that looks like. Now that's a pretty big bend. So if we decide we want to change that, just like we have always done with our sketches, we can change those numbers. Let's make that 1/8 of an inch and see how that looks. Let's go with that 1/8 inch bend. Now I want to do the same on the other side. I want to put the same flange on there. So I can actually just continue on just by making sure that this blue box is active. Click on that, and I'll do the exact same thing. Click on an edge and just pull it up. Now if I want everything to stay the same, that's all I have to do. So then I can say OK, and I have the 2 flanges. Now I'm also going to put some feet on this, so let's do that again. Let's go to edge flange. I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to pull it on the inside, click it, and this, in this case, that's going to be 3/4 of an inch. That's how long that is. So from the outside to here is 3/4. Again, I'm going to leave it on this position, leave it on that dimension right there. Make sure that blue box is active, and I can get the other side, pull it the same way, dimensions stay the same, everything stays the same. So I've got the feet on there. I do want to put some holes in the bottom of that as well. So in order to do that, just use your normal sketch tools. So I'll just sketch on there and put those small holes, like some kind of mounting holes, I suppose. and we'll dimension those. So that's the same, that was the same kind of technique we've been using in terms of sketching and extruding that we've been using with our standard construction methods. And this hole is 0.5. This way as well. And one more. Finish the sketch. Do an extrude cut. Don't go all the way through. I'm going to do up to next. You can do with a dimension as well. Okay, so that takes care of that. The other thing I want to do is put fillets on all these corners. Now you'll notice if you go to the sheet metal tab, you have a corner tool, which is really handy. You can do different things with the corners. What we want to do is break the corners. And you can use this to either put chamfers or fillets. In this case, we're going to put a fillet, and we're going to put 1/4 inch radius. And you can just click on the face of that, and you see what it does is it'll put the fillets, and you can click on that face and it'll put the fillets on there. And it just gets rid of any sharp edges that we have. Okay. Okay, we have to add another feature onto the top of this, so I can just use the sheet metal base flange, or I can, oops, let's see, I don't know what I got going on there. Okay, so sheet metal tab, base flange tab, and just click on that face there, and we can use it just like the sketch tool. I know that this starts, the corner of this is right there at that point, so I'm just going to use that as a constraint. And we'll need to draw that closed shape there. I'll need to put some dimensions on that. And actually, that's all I need. I've got enough constraints on there. Now, when you finish, you'll see software pretty smart. It already knows the material I've been using. If I wanted to change it, I'd have to do something different because I'm going to merge the result. It's basically just adding material, so that's easy enough. It's the same thing as doing a sketch extrude, quite honestly. We do have a cutout that we want to do on this, and I'm just going to use my sketch tool to do the cutout. So you see there's some overlap here when you're making sheet metal parts. And first I'm just going to sketch it out kind of quickly. And then I'm going to use my constraints here, and I'll just make sure that all of those edges are parallel. Yeah, I think that one's good. Yeah, we're fine there. Okay, and then I'll add the dimensions that I need. And everything's 0.5 on this, so it's all really symmetrical. Just make sure you get it fully constrained. And then this dimension here is 1.25. Finish the sketch. I'll do an extrude cut. And lastly, I've got some holes to put in the side of this. And again, I'm just going to use my sketch tool. And those are 1.375. And let's use some relations here, kind of make this a little bit easier. Let's just click on all three of these. It'll make them equal so we know they're the same size. And then let's click on these center lines and make them all vertical. So now it'll reduce the number of dimensions. It's not that big of a deal. And that's 1.25. I still will need to add height dimensions to these. Let's try that again. Finish the sketch, and I'll have the holes go through both sides, so I'm just going to make it easy on myself by extrude cutting all the way through. And there's my finished part. Let me save that. And let's look at what the pattern's going to look like. So if you click on the sheet metal tab, you can go to flatten, and it'll show you what your flat pattern looks like. Again, which is super helpful. You could take that and make a DXF file, send it to your CNC laser, plasma, water jet, etc. to cut it out. Or we can put it on a drawing sheet and use it as a manual pattern if you wanted to make it that way. It'll show you the bend lines and all the other features there. Let's put that on a drawing sheet. Now again, depending on the use, if you're going to manually make this, then you would just go ahead and make detailed drawings like we're used to doing. Let's see what that view, oh yeah, that's perfect. I think that's a really good view, because if you're looking underneath, sort of underneath here, you're going to not have all the hidden lines. If you flip this over, you got too many hidden lines. So that would be our drawing. Yeah, that's okay. That's an okay drawing. Okay view. So then we just need to add the dimensions to that for our detailed drawing. The other thing I'm going to want you to do, let's save that. So let's put the flat pattern on a separate sheet. So let's do a new drawing. This time, let's go over here. And one of your options on the view is going to be your flat pattern. So it's right there. And again, you're going to see where all the features are. You're going to see the bend lines. It even gives you a description about that's the bend radius, and it also tells you the angle that you want to bend it, and you can dimension that if you want. So let's put that. Let's put the flat pattern. Also, it's kind of nice to put the ISO. Put an ISO view on the sheet as well. That looks pretty good. So then we can add dimensions to this as needed, and that's what I'll have you do. So 2 sheets, one that's got the regular detail view, 3 views with an ISO with dimensions on it, and then a view that's got the flat pattern. Put some dimensions on the flat pattern.